Hey there! You're listening to the Outsourcing Hub podcast, the pod that brings you anything and everything about building great teams in outsourcing. And we promise to share infinite opportunities, news, updates, and trends in the industry. Hosted by the Vice President of Sales and Marketing at Infinit-O, Mike Gunyon.
Hi, I'm Mike Gunyon, Vice President of Sales and Marketing with Infinit-O, and welcome back to another episode of the Outsourcing Hub podcast, Building Great Teams. Infinit-O has been in the outsourcing industry for over 15 years. Our clients are small and medium business, expansion stage startups, and first-time outsourcers, among others. We support businesses across multiple industries and functions from healthcare, financial services, accounting, research and data, customer experience, IT solutions, sales enablement, and back office support. Joining me today is June Presbitero Jr. He's the Quality and Information Security Coordinator at Infinit-O. June formerly worked as a teacher for 15 years before transitioning to analytics and then compliance, and now has more than 10 years of experience in the BPO industry and notably contributed in the automation of several processes for human resources, operations, quality, and compliance at Infinit-O. Hi, June. It's a pleasure speaking with you today. How are you doing?
Well, I'm doing great. Thank you very much for inviting me here, Mike. I hope you're doing well.
Yeah, I'm doing well. It's a great time for us in the business, and I don't get to speak to you as often as I'd like. Usually when we're going through one of our certifications or compliances. So it's nice speaking with you, June, as always.
Yeah, in a different context.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, this is a nice way though for people to get to know you too. Given the fact that so many of our clients and businesses are now digitally transforming their operations, a big issue that needs to be addressed always is the importance of compliance, security compliance, such as ISO certifications, GDPR, HIPAA. So, why do you think these certifications and compliances are so much on the front burner and the foresight of companies?
I think the certifications are actually very important for the first reason is that it serves an evidence that the organizations who have them have a very well established mature systems and processes which somehow communicates that these people or these organizations are very dedicated in servicing their client with the utmost security or information security that they could provide. So having this certification with ISO, definitely with ISO, if we have ISO, you are able to establish or say that our system is definitely or will be able to provide the services that you want based on the quality that you want, because these are documented, these are has evidence that they are complying to the requirements of the client. And then for GDPR, DPA, or HIPAA, this is more of personal information of your clients, of your patients in case of HIPAA. So these are important because it ensures that this information does not go to the wrong hands. Especially nowadays, there's like ransomware with different companies, and there are a lot of ways that people who would use it to somehow scam people for money or other things. These are being kept safe by this organization who have the certifications.
It's kind of like a risk mitigation, right? It
Definitely.
seems as though doing the right thing, following the processes, it mitigates risk for all parties. And
Yes.
yeah.
It also, of course, it's not only the organization or the clients. Definitely, the most important thing is the information of your customers. So, especially nowadays, like people are always or are doing transactions online. So, this information are very vital. To show that you are the person who has the right to use this money or this credit card or this thing. So it's very important for us to have several, processes, systems, controls in place to ensure that this information will not just, be handed to people who does not deserve that.
Makes sense. And it really gives our clients a sort of peace of mind that we ensure and we promote data protection and security. In fact, we guarantee it.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
right. So, just starting with the ISO certification, what is it? And maybe a little bit about the value that it brings. So ISO.
It, for some companies, I mean, like there are a lot of companies who are saying they're ISO certified, and people are asking, what is the real value of ISO? It's not necessarily just certification. This is somehow helpful for the company itself because ISO always promotes continuous improvement. If there's something wrong with your system right now, if you have ISO certification, this somehow serves an evidence that you are always continuing to improve. You are always making sure that if there was no control before, you're going to set up a control to ensure that the value that you are providing to your customer remains consistent. So somehow it gives the company high credibility, or the organization who has them high credibility that you will be able to provide the services that you promise to give. So if you have ISO, this somehow proves that you are very well equipped with the processes and system uh, to somehow enable you to provide these services that your client requires.
Gotcha. So the ISO itself stands for, I think, International Standards Organization, I think. And so is that it's an independent body, right? And
Yes.
so they establish standards for companies to measure different levels of excellence and repeatability and so forth,
Yes,
right?
yes. It's almost like I mean, like it's almost like a very somehow very simple way of doing Six Sigma, because Six Sigma is always promoting that you should have documentation, you should have evidence, that you should ensure continuous improvement based on what you have learned before. So somehow ISO is doing that, but not only for quality, you have information security, you have for safety, for food, for the environment. So somehow
Hmm.
ISO, it covers is very comprehensive with different industries. It ensures that the organizations who have them actually can do what they promise to do.
Gotcha. Makes sense too, June. So because it's a internationally recognized standard, it has credibility, it's recognizable, transferable, and it ensures consistency and so forth. And I know that a lot of our clients, they feel assured when we talk about and show them our uh, certifications for
Yes.
ISO at
Yes.
27001 and 9001 for.
Person one. Yes.
So it's just a great sort of international currency, if you will, right?
Yes, yes. But again, like I said,
Yeah,
it does not only benefit the client; it also benefits the organization who has them.
yeah,
Because like you said, it's used for a lot of things, but most likely it will generate a lot of revenue for those companies. Why? Because like I said, if you are able to provide consistent service, if you are able to provide the quality that you promised, all the clients that you talk to would understand that, or would know that if you have this type of certification, you are definitely dependable.
that's well said. Thanks, June. So, so that's the ISO certifications. But there are other things, right? Like GDPR, for example, which
Mm-hmm.
is generally I think of as a European standard of compliance. Can you talk a little bit about GDPR um, and what it means to be GDPR compliant?
For GDPR technically protects, or somehow like a rule, a law that ensures the protection of personal data. Especially nowadays, if you look at the current market, people are using social media. Patients' data are online. You have teleconsult and things like this. So everything is done online, and most of those data are very important for these people. because it might cause damages for them if or to them in the event that this somehow is uh, somehow when this data goes into the bad hands. So GDPR ensures that there are proper controls, that the organizations are following a set of rules, ensuring that this personal information, especially in the European country, that this information, whether it transferred to another location, that this data are safe and will not somehow be breached by hackers or anyone who would sell them or use them in a bad way.
Yeah. What I didn't know was that GDPR has that sort of extraterritorial scope. So if there's a website, say in the US, for example, that they have to be compliant with GDPR if the data is about people in the EU. So that compliance has GDPR goes far beyond European
Yes, definitely.
reach, I guess. Yeah.
Mhm.
And so at Infinit-O, we are GDPR compliant. Our websites comply, and sort of all of our work processes as far as GDPR goes, we're compliant.
Yes.
The other major one that, because we have so many healthcare clients, is HIPAA, and being HIPAA compliant in the healthcare space. Maybe just talk about that for a bit, would you, June?
For HIPAA, so HIPAA is ensuring to maintain the privacy of patients' data, especially in the healthcare environment. And also, HIPAA ensures that we are developing and administering security programs that are acceptable and practical using electronically protected health information. Somehow, HIPAA ensures that these controls are effective. These controls are actually being in use or implemented within the organization, so that this personal information, or in some cases, if we are talking about information about the health of these clients or customers, these are very sensitive information. They are very well protected.
So it's so important. I think since the 1960s, when that law was introduced to protect patient health data. And when I think about it, about HIPAA in particular, I think it is a very, very high standard of protection, personal data protection, and not just for patients, but because Infinit-O's HIPAA compliant, we apply the standard to all of our work processes, whether
Yes.
it's in financial services or market research. We still utilize the standard of data protection and personal information safety across all the lines of business, because we are HIPAA compliant and have to be.
Yes. Since we are not only HIPAA compliant, we're also ISO 27001 compliant, just for information security. So they work hand in hand. Or Infinit-O is, complying to both of this certification to ensure that, like what you said, the data that we have on our control is very well protected, and those customers or those clients that are providing us data, their data as well, is very well protected with our systems, and of course the controls that we have.
Great to know. And it also makes you feel good about working for a business that's has that that sort of not just capability, but the desire and continuous continuous vigilance to make sure that we
Yes.
remain compliant
Yeah.
and
That's why,
certified.
like here, me as a customer of different services, I always look for companies who has this type of certification, because I'm also transacting online. So without the certification, somehow I wouldn't feel confident to just input my data into their system. So with the certification, HIPAA, ISO, this somehow provides you, some knowledge that your data will be kept safe, and you won't have to think about it at night that there might be a data breach or things like that. Somebody might be using your data, be sold in the black market. So having this type of certification definitely helps customers to have that peace of mind.
Thank you, June. It does. It gives great comfort and peace of mind, sense of security, and one major thing not to have to worry about. So great. Thank you so much. It's been very insightful talking with you, as always, June. And so, putting this in the context of what we're here to discuss, the security and compliance and how important that is if you, the listener here, as a business owner or someone who's running and operating a business, if you're looking for an outsourcing partner, it's a very important consideration to have and to keep in mind. So June, I want to thank you again for your time and sharing your expertise and just catching up with you. And to our listeners, thank you again for tuning into this episode. To get to know us better, you may access us at Infinit-O.com or email us at info@Infinit-O.com. So thanks again to everybody, and thanks, June.
Thanks, Mike.
All right. So please stay in touch for the next episode of the webcast here. Thanks again.
And that has been the Outsourcing Hub podcast, Building Great Teams with Mike Gunyon. Thank you for tuning in. And always remember, start small, exceed expectations, think infinitely, think Infinit-O. To learn more about us, make sure to visit our website at www.infinit-o.com or email us at info@infinit-o.com.